Well, hello, my friend, and welcome to day 12 of our 31-day journey through the Proverbs. Now, the Proverbs, as you might be discovering, don't always make sense at first, and that's the whole point. It's not because these writings are thousands of years old and poorly translated into English. That's not the case. These are supposed to be riddles. They're supposed to make you think. They are actually invitations to investigate further. Well, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into our text for today. Proverbs chapter 12 and verse 1, it says, "Whoever loves correction loves knowledge, but he who hates correction is stupid." You gotta love that one, man. A good man will obtain favor from the Lord, but he will condemn a man of wicked plans. A man will not be established by wickedness, but the root of the righteous will not be moved. A worthy woman is the crown of her husband, but a disgraceful wife is as rottenness in his bones. The thoughts of the righteous are just, but the advice of the wicked is deceitful. The words of the wicked are about lying in wait for blood, but the speech of the upright rescues them. The wicked are overthrown and are no more, but the house of the righteous will stand. A man will be commended according to his wisdom, but he who has a warped mind will be despised. Better is he who is little known and has a servant than he who honors himself and lacks bread. A righteous man respects the life of his animal, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who chases fantasies is void of understanding. The wicked desires the plunder of evil men, but the root of the righteous flourishes. An evil man is trapped by sinfulness of lips, but the righteous will come out of trouble. A man will be satisfied with good by the fruit of his mouth. The work of a man's hands will be rewarded to him. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who is wise listens to counsel. A fool shows his annoyance the same day, but one who overlooks an insult is prudent. He who is truthful testifies honestly, but a false witness lies. There is one who speaks rashly like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise heals. Truth's lips will be established forever, but a lying tongue is only momentary. Deceit is in the heart of those who plot evil, but joy comes to the promoters of peace. No mischief will happen to the righteous, but the wicked will be filled with evil. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who do the truth are his delight. A prudent man keeps his knowledge, but the hearts of fools proclaim foolishness. The hands of the diligent ones will rule, but laziness ends in slave labor. Anxiety in a man's heart weighs it down, but a kind word makes it glad. A righteous person is cautious in friendship, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. The slothful man doesn't roast his game, but the possessions of diligent men are prized. In the way of righteousness is life. In its path there is no death. Well, that's a good reminder, or a good, I guess that's comforting, because I know many of the Proverbs that we've read, they've all ended in death, and here's an encouraging one that doesn't end in death, so that's good to know. Now, so many great Proverbs here. I think I might surprise you with the one that I have a takeaway for today. There's so many I would love to comment on. Like that one about, the women, like there's all these Proverbs about men, but then there's one in there about women. And I'm like, it just seems so gender, anyhow, I'm going to take a pass on that one. I am going to talk about verse 27. And verse 27 is the one that says, "The slothful man doesn't roast his game, but the possessions of diligent men are prized." What in the world does that mean? Well, like I said at the beginning, the Proverbs are all about an invitation, inviting you to think about and discover and investigate what these are all about. When I read this, the slothful man doesn't roast his game. What is that all about? And I think this is such a great metaphor. You got to picture it. Okay, so first of all, this was written at least 3,000 years ago. Sure, they had agriculture, civilization had advanced, but if you think about it, you just try to imagine this time of hunters and gatherers, when people would go out, and it's not like, for example, when my dad and I, we used to go fishing, and we'd come home with like a whole boatload of fish, fresh fish, fresh from the lake. And even though we had these fresh fish, we could say, well, we'll put them in the freezer and we'll eat them later. Mom's got some lasagna in the oven. Or we would even go out fishing and we'd say, you know what, doesn't matter if we catch anything or not. Mom's got some lasagna in the oven. We're all good. But this is kind of, if you imagine the scenario where this guy has to go. I mean, that's the only way he's going to eat, is if he goes out and either hunts or goes fishing. He has to collect his game. And I can just imagine this picture, like he's got like maybe a deer over his shoulders, right? And he, boots the door open, and he comes in and he slams the deer down on the table, and then goes and just plops down on the couch, maybe turns on Netflix, pops open a cold one, and doesn't even cook the deer that he just caught. It's almost like I did my part. It's kind of like the bare minimum effort, right? So a slothful man, a lazy man, will do the bare minimum because he thinks it has to be done. There is some appeal in it, or maybe that's his strength. Maybe his strength is doing the hunting, but not actually going the next step and doing the next step with it. But this next part, it says, "But the possessions of diligent men are prized." And when I think about that, again, with a food analogy, there was a friend that I had from Sierra Leone, West Africa. And he came to America. He was fortunate enough to come and be able to go to the University of Minnesota, where I met him. And I went over, he invited me over to his place one time for dinner. And he was cooking a chicken. He was boiling a chicken. And what he told me was that from where he was from, they were so poor that if you got a chicken, you ate every single part of that chicken. Obviously, they take the feathers out. They're not edible, but they would eat the bones. I mean, they would eat everything because they were so poor. And when they got a chicken, they were so grateful for it that every single part of it was used. Now, what I kind of feel like this whole thing, how this whole verse can be applied is this. Instead of having an attitude of acquiring more, constantly needing to acquire more, like I need more land, I need more clothes, I need more shoes, I need more guitars, I need more guitar pedals, I need more books, I need more courses, I need. Instead of having that acquiring mindset, it's more like just, hey, take a look around you. Take a look at what you already have. Be thrifty. Make use of what you already have. If you have a guitar, learn how to play that guitar better. Don't be fooled that going out and getting another guitar is going to answer or solve the problem that you have that you can't play. How many of us have books, piles and piles and piles of books? We think if we just get another book, I think that's kind of a great example here. The slothful man goes to the library and rents a book, but doesn't read it. But the possessions, the books of the diligent are read. Like, I've read all of my books. I've played everything I could play. I've taken the course. I signed up for a course and I actually took it. How many of us sign up for Udemy courses? We have tons of them and we haven't even watched them. So anyhow, that's my takeaway from that verse. The affirmation that I came up with for this particular verse is, I value and appreciate what I already have. I value and I appreciate what I already have. Well, that's my takeaway. Let's take a look at another takeaway. This one comes from Anthony from Springfield, Illinois. And Anthony writes specifically about verse 22, which says, lying lips are detestable to the Lord, but faithful people are his delight. And what he says about this verse is, I want my Father to delight in me daily. I want to tell the truth daily, even when it hurts or has consequences I don't like. Oh my gosh, that is so powerful, brief and powerful. Let's read that again. I want my Father to delight in me daily. I want to tell the truth daily, even when it hurts or has consequences I don't like. Anthony, I think if everybody lived that way on a daily basis, can you imagine what kind of world this would be? Well, Anthony, thank you so much for submitting your takeaway for Proverbs chapter 12. And I would like to invite you, the viewer, to go ahead and leave a comment. What is your takeaway? Do you have an affirmation that you would like to share from chapter 12? Would love to hear about that in the comments. And if you have any questions, of course, please feel free to reach out. There's more information in the description area on how to connect with us and about today's lesson. But for now, so long, have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time.